Now we're live.
We're live?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey everybody, Jeff here, and I have with me, what's your name?
Caitlin.
Caitlin. And in this video, this is going to be a commentary video on the latest drawing that I did. It's about an hour long. It took me 4 hours to do. So all I did is I took that 4-hour video, I shrunk it to 1 hour. So that way it's fast enough to where we get through it quickly, but it's not too fast that you can't see what I'm doing. And I like to talk through my thought process on the videos and what we've done. And I figure since I'm talking through the video with you, I can talk through it with Caitlin here. And how's your foot, by the way? Alright, those of you who might be following my channel know Caitlin broke her foot, snapped it in 2 places, already had 1 of 2 3 places. She's had 1 of 2 surgeries, and she is getting better as we speak. So in this drawing, it's going to be a picture of someone that has a really funny face, and that's another reason why I wanted you here, because you have the funniest face that I've ever seen.
Yay.
So here we go. Let's check out the video. Okay, so now we are watching the video, and the way I started this video, you could see, is I kind of did like the outline of the guy's head first, and I'm doing his hairline. Right now it's kind of jumpy. Don't worry about that. It's going to stop jumping around in a second. For some reason, I think my camera was trying to auto-center. So first what I was trying to do is just see where am I going to put the eyes at. So I drew that outside of the head just so I can draw that line to see where the eyes are. That just helps me center it on the paper so I know I'm not going to make it too big or too small. And then I'm just going to try and find where the nose is going to be. So that little second line there, that's where I think the nose is going to be. I'm just guessing at this point. So I have no idea. I'm just trying to get something on the paper so I know like how, you know, how big it's going to be. So you see those 2 dots right there? That's me trying to place the eyes. So you do like the corner of the eyes right here. Boop. Get the corner of the eyes. And that's what I've been doing lately, is get the eyes first, and then based on the eyes I can figure out where the nose is going to be. So you'll see I put my pencil up like that. I'm looking up at the picture and I'm seeing where I'm looking at this angle right here, and I'm laying that down on the paper. And so I'm trying to get the outside corner of the eye to the outside corner of the nose. So when you're looking at a picture and you're trying to figure out how to draw it, that's a good reference point, is take the measurement from the outside of the eye to the outside to the nose, and then I'll bring down a little triangle like you see right there, and that lets you know where the nose is going to be. Isn't that weird? It looks just like a triangle?
Yeah. It already looks like a person.
You think so? No. So the eyes, I start again. I try and get the eyes down first so then I can move on to the nose. And here I am zooming up. Because this guy's making this weird face, his eyes are real kind of squinty, so...
Is it hard to do it? Like, the eyes?
Yeah.
Like,
well, and plus the eyes, you really want to try and do your best on the eyes, because where do you look at when you look at a picture or when you look at a person? You look at their eyes, right? So whenever you do a drawing, or when I do a drawing, I always try and really focus on the eyes as much as I can, just because I know that's where the attention's going to be. So see, I'm doing the upper lid there, the little fold of the eyelid.
that's that part right
Yeah.
there.
So, yeah, this was a real fun one to draw. Like I said, I picked it because it has this funny face, funny expression, and I didn't feel so much pressure doing the drawing because the guy's already making a funny face, so it's kind of hard to get it to mess up that bad because he's already making a funny face.
You also drew it because it reminded you of me.
Yes, because you too have a funny face. So, if you want to look at that, here's my phone showing the original picture, so you can kind of see like what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Follow along. So there's where I'm now I'm locking in the nose. So usually you saw me do the triangle for the outside of the eyes down to the nose to find the outside. You could see right there that how that line just goes right on the outside of that nostril. And then to find where it is, I drop down a line from the inside. Usually the start of the inner eye, if you start the inner eye and drop down, that's where the nostril is. So it's a combination of the inner eye and then the angle from the outside eye tells you where to place it. So that's all you see there is I'm just locking in where the nose is based on 2 fixed points. And that's what a lot of my drawing is. If I want to know where something is, I try and find 2 points that intersect, and that tells me where it is. So dropping a point down and dropping a point across tells me where it is. So here I am working on his nose. I'm getting better at drawing noses. Well, it's a challenge to draw a nose because, think about it, the nose comes off your face, right?
Yeah.
Like it comes.
It's supposed to be like 3D or something.
Yeah, it comes forward, so you want to make it 3D. If you don't make it 3D, it looks flat. It looks like it's just a flat nose. So right now it looks flat because there's no shading. But once we start adding the shading in a little bit here, the nose will really start jumping forward and coming off the page. Uh-oh. We have a snake behind us, so she's looking at the snake. So here, no, he's a boy. So here I am working on the eyes. When I do eyes, I try and look at little things like how much white space is in the eye. Sometimes you don't know how big to draw the eye, so I look at the space, the white space on either side, and then I use that as a gauge. So that's kind of what I did here is, at first I was drawing the eye a little too big. That's why you see me erasing. I felt like the eye, what's that part called? The iris?
I don't know.
The iris part of the eye, I felt was too big, so I did a couple erasing things. And yeah, because I think the color is the iris, and then the dark part in the middle is the pupil of your eye.
The only thing I know is the pupil.
Yeah.
But I don't know what an iris is.
So here I drew the iris, and then I'm kind of drawing the pupil, and then I have like a, the guy has a little reflection in his eyes, so I make a little circle there, that little tiny circle dot. That's where it's going to be clear. So this is another fun thing about this one that I really liked, because it was a funny face and he was all scrunchy, is it made a lot of cool little like wrinkle lines. And the more you lay on the paper, like the more you draw, the more anchor points and information you have. So I'm just laying down lines, and based on those lines I like hopscotch to the next part of the face. So it's like you draw a line, then you, okay, from this line it's only a fraction of an inch to the next line, and so you use that as an anchor point. So see, when I draw, everything's based off the eyes. So I laid the eyes down first, that was my anchor, and then from the anchor I fixed the nose in place. And then once I'm fixing the nose in place, now you'll see I'm starting to work on the mouth. I drew those lines straight down because I'm trying to find where is the mouth. Where's the corner of his mouth based on a line from his eyes.
Are those lines on like the ones that go like this on his face? Like
these ones I just drew?
Mm-hmm.
No, not yet. What I'm doing is I'm seeing where's the corner of his mouth. So I'm holding up a pencil and I'm looking where the corner of his mouth is, like my corner of my mouth, and I'm seeing where it is on my eye. And I go, okay, my corner of my mouth's right about in the middle of my eye, right?
Yeah.
So I'm drawing a line straight down from his eye, straight down. And that's where I know where the mouth starts, is I'm just taking these points like that. And so now I'm starting to lock in the mouth based on the nose, based on the eyes. See, it's important that you always lay down your features by measuring to something else. So see, I didn't just guess, oh, here's where the mouth is. I looked, okay, how far down is it from the eyes? How far down is it from the nose? Otherwise, if you don't do that, your mouth's going to be all wonky.
It's gonna be like on the cheek. It's not
Yeah, well, yeah, it might look like that. So here I'm trying to do the lips. I establish where the upper lip is, and then the bottom of the upper lip, and then I'm going to connect it.
Was it hard because since his upper lip's so like tiny? Was it hard to draw that since
Yeah,
like...
but see, those are all little things you look at. Like you look at the picture and you go, okay, his upper lip is smaller than his bottom lip. So you got to keep that in mind when you're drawing it. Like, okay, so now that I made that the size of his lip, now when I do the bottom, you're going to see I'm going to make the bottom lip, because his bottom lip's like 2 upper lips in size, right? Like if you look at his upper lip, his bottom lip's probably like twice as thick. So you keep that in mind. Okay, well, if that's how big I made his upper lip, I got to double that if I'm going to do his bottom lip. So here I am just kind of slowly sketching. Kind of looks funny right there, but there's no shading.
It's like he's sad. Like,
Yeah.
He's like...
Yeah, like if you didn't know that, you would think that he's like frowning, like, But see, now when you're going to start seeing, now I'm trying to establish his open mouth.
Oh, like with the teeth there?
Mm-hmm. See, if you didn't know any better and you're looking at this right now, you'd think, oh, that's a bottom lip. But no, that's not the bottom lip. That's his teeth. Now I'm starting to do the bottom lip and connect it. See, now it's starting to look like an open mouth. And in this stage, this is all what I call the unfinished coloring book stage, the layout stage. It's the stage where there's no shading. You're just trying to get, something down that looks like the person, or looks like the reference that you're trying to draw. So usually at this point I don't feel very confident. I'm unsure how it's going to turn out, but I just kind of go with it. And I think that's important to point out, that even me, at this stage, I don't know if it's going to be a piece of garbage or if it's going to be something that I really end up liking, which I did end up really liking this picture. So if you're like me, or if you're a beginner and you are unsure and you're lacking confidence, that's the hardest part, is just to trust in yourself and keep trying. Just keep going with the drawing, because you can always erase and you can always correct it. So here I am trying to establish where the first part of his chin is. You can see he has a few chins because of the way he's making his face. So on a normal drawing where you just see that chin, that might be your normal chin.
Yeah.
But because he's pulled in like that, it's actually the first of like 2 chins. Yeah. So that's like the first of 2 chins. So this was a very unique pose in respect that it's not your typical drawing. You typically don't draw somebody with multiple chins, making funny scrunchy face. So that's why it was sort of a challenge for me. Could I capture his expression? So let's see, I'm trying to measure. So you'll see me, I'm doing that again with the pencil. You see me moving the pencil up and down the paper. I'm just establishing, okay, if this little space right here is the size of his mouth, then how far, how many mouth sizes is, the chin. So that's all it is. It's comparative measuring. You just take a measurement of like the nose, and then go, okay, well, if the nose is this big, okay, well, how big is the chin? Oh, the chin is, okay, the chin's 1 nose, okay. So it's all just taking measurements. So here I am working up on jumping back up to the eyebrow. And again, you'll notice when my style of drawing, there's no rulers, there's no tracing, there's no grids. So I'm just looking up at a picture and then looking back at the drawing, looking up at the picture, looking back at the drawing, and I'm just making educated guesses as where I think things are. And whenever you see me lay a pencil down on the paper, that's me just double checking my measurements visually.
Like how you told me then you're looking at a picture in the eye and you like measure the eye, then you do another space, and that's the other eye.
Yeah. Or like if you draw one eye and then you want to know if the other eye is the same size, how would you check that? Well, you can hold your pencil up to it, like you saw me doing. Hold your pencil up to one eye, then move it to the other eye, and see it. You can just see if that's the same size. And if one's too big and it's not supposed to be, you just erase it and you draw it over.
Like you just go.
Yep, you just do it. So here I am zooming out so you can kind of see the larger scale of the face. And in a little bit here, especially towards the end, I really zoom up so you'll get to see super detail. By the way, I should mention, for those of you who are watching this, if you have any suggestions, any comments on how I'm doing these videos, please let me know. And if you like it, let me know. And if you have any changes, let me know. For example, that looks like what? That looks like me?
Yeah.
So, for example, if you think this is great, I want to know. But if you want to see, hey Jeff, I'd rather see super close up all the time instead of this like zoomed out view, then let me know that kind of stuff. What I try and do when I film this is I try not to go back and forth all the time. I don't want to make the camera change angles too many times. But that being said, if you would want to see, if it's hard for you to see me drawing right here because it's sort of light at this stage, let me know and I can always have it zoom up for the next video. So here I'm working on like where is the top of the head, where is the hairline, just trying to lock in the overall face here. So I'm holding up the pencil there. I'm trying to see, okay, how high is it going to go on the head?
You doing the hair?
I'm checking where the ears are going to, or where the side is going to be, where the side of the hair.
Oh, that part.
Yeah.
What's the hardest part on the drawing? Like eyes, nose, lips?
I don't know. Eyes, I don't know. It depends. Sometimes the mouth is really hard for me, believe it or not.
Does it depend, like, what way it's facing, like?
Yeah, it could be. It could be what the people are doing, if they're making funny faces. Sometimes people, when you see their teeth smiling, those are hard. It's hard. It's easier to do somebody that's smiling without showing their teeth, but when they show teeth, for me, it's a little hard. So, see, I kind of locked in where the head is. There's no detail on the hair yet, but that's just like the overall shape. I'm just locking in the shape. He looks funny there because he doesn't have any ears right now.
I think it looks normal to me.
You think it's normal?
Yeah.
But see, if I didn't tell you otherwise, you'd probably think that his mouth could be closed right now. If you didn't see the picture, you might think that's just a guy doing like a frowny face. So that's the challenge, is I'm going to have to make it look like he's showing his teeth.
When you have pictures with someone smiling, do you have to count the teeth?
Yeah, you should. But you'll see later, I don't put a lot of detail in the teeth. I just give you little bits. I just give you a little bit of a hint that there's teeth there. And you'll see what I mean as you see the picture come to life here. That it doesn't take much to let you know there are teeth there. So at this stage, again, I'm not doing any shading. I'm just laying it out, the unfinished coloring book stage, and coming up after I do the rest of his face. I'm almost done with his face here. Then we'll start laying down some shading and whatnot. So here I'm working on the ear, and if I remember correctly, I messed the ear up a little bit. I want to say I don't make him even. No, you have to stay here. This is a no bathroom video. I'm just kidding. And tell Bailey to shut up when you're out there.
Okay.
So here I'm starting to work on the teeth. What I do is I look at the gums and I just lightly shade. So I'm not drawing teeth, I'm almost just drawing the outline of the gums. And you'll see here as I'm doing that, just by drawing the outline of the gums, your brain starts to see teeth. Even though I haven't drawn any teeth, I just drew the outline of the gums and the teeth are starting to show up. So that's another cool little illusion. A lot of drawing is sort of like illusions. It's tricking your brain to see something that may or may not be there. So now I think I'm kind of outlining a little bit, laying down just the little wrinkles here and there, because I know once I start shading, things are going to get a little lost. So this is the time that I'm adjusting my picture, making sure that it looks proportionate, doesn't look too out of whack. And again, it's okay to erase. You know, here I'm erasing the ear. Never feel like you gotta just, you know, those of you like me that, you know, go, oh, I'm not a good drawer, I don't know how to draw. You know, everything you see here I basically learned from YouTube. Okay, so I haven't taken any drawing lessons, I haven't gone to school for any of this. This is just me learning how to draw based on watching other people draw. And that's why I do the video like this, is I'm trying to help other people as much as help myself. All right.
I'm back.
You're back. So pretty soon, this might be, again, this might be boring to some people, but remember, this actually took 4 hours to do, and this video is only going to be about an hour. So that's why I speed it up, is to hopefully give you a condensed version instead of sitting here for 4 hours like some of my other videos where I actually sat and drew for 4 hours and recorded it all. I think this is a better format where we can sit together and talk. I can talk over what I'm doing. So you can see here I'm starting to work on where his shoulders are going to be. I'm pretty satisfied with the face. Now I want to start seeing it on the body. And I'm jumping back. I end up jumping around a lot too. It just depends on what my brain sees when I feel like I'm going to be done. I want to say I'm going to start working on the shirt here, the clothing. And I've mentioned it on some of my past videos, but for me, when it gets to this stage, when you're down below the face and in this area, since it's not the highlight of the picture, I don't put a lot of focus on it. So I'm just kind of drawing an outline of the rough workings of a shirt. But you'll see as I go on later that I don't do a lot of detail on it.
Oh, you're doing the shirt?
Yeah,
button.
so I'm doing those little collar right there. But on the finished picture, a lot of this that you see, it's almost gets washed away. It's almost like not even seen. So it just depends on what you want to do, how realistic you want to get. For me, I like focusing right here on the face, and everything else, I just kind of, I don't want it to be the main focus. So I'm just, again, just kind of, you'll see here when I'm doing this stuff, I'm not measuring any of this. I'm not holding the pencil up too much to the shirt, trying to get things right. That's not that important to me. What's important to me is the face. That's where my measurements really, I want it to be solid. So I think pretty soon here I'm going to start doing the shading and really working on laying it in. Yeah. So we're about a little more than a third of the way through this video.
Almost halfway there.
Almost halfway, people. Thanks for hanging in there. Laying down some more wrinkle lines, or I guess folds, neck fold, chin folds. One thing that I should point out that's cool about drawing, and if you're an artist or learning like I'm learning still, you'll find that the more you lay down, the more you put on the paper, the more you start to see. So a lot of times you may not see like a wrinkle that's right here. You just don't see it the first time, but as you start really focusing in and laying down things, then you start noticing these other things that you missed. And that really comes to happen when you're looking at shadows. When I start shading, I'll start going, oh, I didn't even see that right there. I didn't even see there's a dark spot on his face. And then I shade it in. So pretty soon we're going to get to the cool part where I'm going to start shading. Now up to this point, everything you see here, all one pencil. It's all my HB pencil, which is just your standard pencil. I got these off Amazon. Free shipping. If I remember, I'll put a link below if you guys, want to get the same pencils. You don't have to, but they were cheap and it was free shipping. So I'll put the link down if I remember. What are you doing, my phone?
720, 12 times 10 times 6.
Oh, yes. All right, so where are we at in this drawing? It's looking pretty good.
Ooh.
Zoom in.
Now
It's
you're
looking.
shading?
Yeah. So I think I remember this part. So I'm gonna start shading here in a second. And when I do the shading at first, yeah, here I am starting to shade. I don't try and do too dark. I try and just do the same kind of shading throughout, like one layer. Like it's like if you were to get dressed for winter, you don't just put on 10 layers of clothes at one time. You'll put on one layer of clothes, then you'll put on a jacket, and then you'll put on a scarf, and then you'll put on a hat. So it's like, that's like the shading. So this is the first layer, and you're going to see, I'm just going to go through the picture, I'm going to look at the reference, and then I'm going to look back down, and I'm just starting to add the dark values onto the picture. So you know the eyebrows are dark, right? So you just darken in the eyebrows. I know up there is a little dark, so I'm just going to start laying down. And the cool thing about my style, I feel weird calling it my style because I didn't invent it, but the way I draw, in this stage right now, look at how I'm doing the shading. It's very, you see the lines. It's not smooth. It's very just line. But at the end, what you'll see, those of you who watch my stuff know what I do. I'll take some tissue, and then I rub in those lines, and it makes it super smooth, and all of a sudden it starts looking like skin. So right now you can see, like right there by his forehead, see those lines? That don't look like skin.
No.
Right there under his eye, that doesn't look like skin. I'm just marking where the shading's going to be. I'm marking where it's dark. I'm looking at the picture and going, okay, it's darker right there. It's darker right where that smile line is. So I'm just laying down lines. It's not smooth, but it's telling me where it's darker. And then later you'll see when I take a tissue and I rub it in, it just like magic. It like goes from blocky lines to like smooth skin with texture. So those of you who are, want to kind of draw like I'm drawing, try that out. It really, it's like magic how it works out. Here's the other cool thing to make your nose look. Remember I was saying we're talking about the nose and making it look 3D? Drawing the shadows around the nose like that, it's going to make it stand out. All of a sudden the nose is going to start turning into, it's going to pop out.
It's like suddenly you're just watching the video, then you put on 3D glasses and it's just...
It's like the 3D glasses without the 3D glasses.
In the process of putting on the glasses, you're doing all that, and then once you put it on, it's like magic.
Yeah. So here I am just trying to work on the nose. Think of it as a 3D shape, so you'll see I'm drawing like lines and circles on the nose because it's a sphere, it's got dimension to it. So I'm just lightly shading. But just notice how like it's starting to look 3D because of the darker shadows. It's something I say in every one of my drawing videos, but one of the key tips for me that was a mind-blowing opening thing for me is just learning what shading is all about and why you do it. When you make something dark on a picture, you're pushing it into the background. So remember that darkness is putting it in the background. Lighter stuff, it's bringing it forward. Because when light is shining on your face, it's going to hit things that are, forward or closer to the light. So because his nose is more forward, that's lighter. And then when you color the dark shadows underneath it, it brings forward the light parts of the nose. So if you ever want something to be pushed in the background, shade it. And that'll make everything that's not shaded come forward. And that is really apparent on this picture with his double chins, is to show like what chin is forward, what chin's further behind, you know, what chin is getting light, what chin is in the darkness. So, no, it's okay. If you want to go tell him,
Yeah, okay.
my dog keeps barking, so Caitlin's gonna go tell him to shut up. Alright, I'm working on the other eye now. And again, this is the rough pass. A lot of drawing that I do, it's just multiple passes. I used to think when I would draw, or when people draw, they just drew it and it was done. And because I can never draw like that, I was always afraid to draw. But then when I learned, it's never just one time it's done. It's always like you lay down a little bit. You lay down some more, you lay down another layer, and you just keep layering on top of each other until all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay. So here I am working on the eye. It's a little weird, his eye. If you look closely, it almost looks like a lot's going on in there. But that's because I didn't want it to be too dark. I wanted to keep some spots light to represent the flash, you know, or the reflection in his eyes. So it looks really weird the closer you look, but when you look at the picture from far away, the eyes don't look quite as weird. You can still see I'm doing my shading, just very rough, very blocky, very liney shading. Nope. So at this stage of the drawing, I'm almost done with this part of the shading. I'm only laying down the dark spots. All the white spots you see on the forehead, the white spots you see right here on his face, there's no pencil on there. It's just, there's no pencil because I'm not seeing any darkness there. Later, when I rub it all together, it'll blend it and it'll put pencil and put some tone there. But you don't need to just shade everything. One of the mistakes I used to make in my previous drawings is I shaded everything, top to bottom, one shade. And I don't do that, at least now at this stage and in this drawing, I don't do that. I don't shade everything. I just shade where I see darkness. And then when I rub it with the tissue, it'll blend it all together and it'll make it, it'll do all that for you. So a couple touching ups, you know, always touch up dark in the center of the mouth or the corners of the mouth. Underneath the lip right there, since that's inside his mouth, I'm making that darker. Remember, the darker, the further back it is. So since I know that's actually back inside his mouth, I'm making it dark right there. I'm reestablishing the gum line. Again, I haven't really drawn any teeth. I'm just did those little lines of the gums, and that makes your brain go, oh, now I can see his teeth. Well, you actually can't see his teeth. I haven't drawn teeth, but your brain sees teeth.
Yeah, you know where to put the lines to separate, like.
Yeah, so I'm not drawing lines.
Yeah.
I'm just indicating teeth. So right there, by going up and down a little bit, I kind of made you see teeth a little bit, but I didn't draw lines.
Yeah.
See, now all of a sudden you see it, right?
Yeah. Now you're actually going.
Yeah. And that's one of the cool things, that's one of my favorite things about drawing, is it's almost like magic, you know. I mean, when we just sat down and started this video, it was a blank piece of paper. And now look, there's already a person staring back at you, you know. And to me, that's the funnest part about drawing. So see, I just did that dark line under his lip. That just made his lips come forward a little bit because the shadow line is in the background. You know, just by drawing that line, I brought forward the lips because I drew a line around it. And so a lot of it is just me looking at the picture, the reference picture, looking back down. I'm asking myself every 3 seconds, I'm going, where is their darkness? Where is their shadow? Where is their shading? and I see a spot, I mark it. Where is there shading? See a spot? Mark it. Where is there shading? See a spot? So you're always seeing different things that you haven't seen the last time you looked up. So I'm just establishing his chin right there. Making little marks that I see. Not going too hard. You know, if you go too hard, it would look really funny. So it's better to go lighter than to go harder, because you can always go darker. But if you go too dark, it's hard to erase. So that's one of the keys to drawing, especially in the beginning, is just go light, and then, you know, when you like what you see, then start going darker. So I'm doing a little bit more on the eyes. I don't remember if I blended in before I start doing the shirt and stuff or not, so I guess we'll find out together. Alright, we're a little more than halfway through here, guys, so thanks for hanging in there.
About 30 more minutes.
Yeah, a little less than that.
About 20.
Yeah, probably got about 25 more minutes for those of you who are glued to this video, this exciting video. So yeah, this was a real fun one. For those of you who follow my artwork, unless I'm drawing somebody famous or somebody that I haven't really drawn a lot of famous people at this point, but if I'm just drawing regular everyday people, I like drawing pictures that have expression or something that, you know, is easy to capture. And if I was just drawing somebody that just was looking blah, you know, looking very, just very nothing, yeah, like, I just want to draw something that captures the expression, so so you could see it. You know, like this was a funny face, so I was drawn to this picture for that reason. I have a few more lined up of funny faces that I will be drawing in the future.
It's like you when you're looking for pictures. How some people say when you're writing like a story, you want the introduction to catch the reader's eye.
Yes.
When you're looking, you want to find a picture that would catch the watcher's eye.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, you want something that someone's going to want to look at and be like, oh, okay, that picture's telling a story.
Like how in movies, they're like, I want to see the end when it's like in the middle or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know what you mean either. So here I'm working a little bit more on the eyes, adding a little bit, it's a little bit darker on the pupil. Yeah, I'm just jumping over the picture, and like I was saying earlier, how the more you shade, the more you start seeing things that may not have been there. This is what's happening with me at this point. Is the more I'm shading, the more I'm looking at the picture and I'm seeing new parts of the face that I didn't notice before. Like right there, I just noticed, oh, okay, it's a little dark right there. Okay, so I shade right there. Yeah, I didn't notice it before. But the more I lay down the shading, I start seeing different things. So I think I'm pretty much done with the face. I'm kind of moving down here to the neck area.
Are you doing the double chin thing?
Yeah, well that's like down here now, because he's like pressed together. So this is still part of his skin is right up here, right by the shirt. So I'm defining the shirt kind of dark just so I can see the difference between the shirt and the skin. There's the button, drawing the button of his shirt. And at this point when I was doing this, I was thinking like, how much am I going to do of this? How much of this shirt am I going to bother with? How far down do I want to go? And I don't go down too much further, but I wanted to get enough. I don't want it to look like a floating head. So I like drawing some clothing in there just so you, the viewer, can see, where it is. So here's how I do clothing, or most of my clothing. I just shade the pencil in 3 different directions. So right now I'm going up and down. So you'll see I go up and down all the way across. And you could probably just leave it like that. But then I go diagonal. So now I'm going diagonal. Same thing, diagonal all the way across. Look how it's making it look like a shirt's just magically forming there. And then I go diagonal the other way. That's like cross-hatching. You're cross-hatching your pencil. But see, now that it gave it some texture, so it actually looks like some texture that he's wearing, and not just, you know, some lines. So I remember coming up here, I'm going to start, you'll see in a minute when I start blending. So notice now where the shading is, how it's still lined, especially like look on the forehead. It's just a bunch of like lines, pencil lines. But watch coming up here what happens when I start shading. I don't remember exactly where. I know it's coming up very soon. So I'm working a little bit on the hair. Getting the darkness. His hair's darker on the sides, so I'm focusing that in there. And with hair, and one of these days maybe I'll do just a tutorial just on hair or just on noses. I mean, I don't do that just because there's so much information already out there on YouTube. If you want to know how to draw hair, just look up how to draw hair, and there's people that do videos on it. I like these videos just to be very informal. You and I sitting down, chatting, watching the process together. I like watching the process. I like seeing how it's done. So I'm watching this right now just as you're watching it. So look, here's where I'm blending it. And look at the forehead. Now you don't see any lines, but you can see, look at that. Look at the cheeks. Look at the chin. Look how it all just turned into like skin.
Oh my God.
See that?
Yeah.
Now, I didn't go over the eyeballs. I don't want to make those too blurry. But I did it over where the skin is. And now that just, look what that did. Now you can see where the light parts are light and where the darker parts are dark. Now that was all past one. Now I can go back over it and I can start, I do it for the hair too. So I'm just blending the hair so it gives it some more texture.
Shiny.
Yeah. And now I'm going over again with the pencil. Now that I rubbed it and made it kind of dull and blended it, now I'm going over again and bringing the darker parts out. And that's where the magic starts happening. That's where you really start making it even more three-dimensional. Now you got skin there. Now you start laying down the darker lines, going over it again, adding layers. But anyway, like I was saying, I like watching this alongside of you because I enjoy this stuff. I mean, even though I drew this, I'm watching it like I didn't draw it because I like seeing how it's coming to life, how it's created. How did this thing that was nothing start to become a person looking back at me? And so that's why I like these videos. Hopefully you guys do too, and you're not just
Sleeping.
Yeah.
Accidentally played this.
Yeah. So now, because I knocked everything down, I'm just going through, I'm darkening all the same lines I did before. So I knew it was a little dark in the mouth, so I'm kind of re-darkening that. But it's bringing the drawing more to life now. So just little things. Again, at this stage, you know, you're almost kind of going over what you did before. Not as hard, but you're just bringing back to life all the little tiny things that might have got lost when you blended things in, or when I blended things in. Some of you watching this might go, I don't draw like that, or I don't. You know, I use a smudge stick. I don't use tissue, or, you know, that's fine. This is just the way I do it. Yeah, like one of these things. People use that sometimes instead of a tissue. So I use a tissue, but some people will use that, and they'll just go, and they'll blend it in that way. And then again, I'm going to say it again. I said it earlier. Do you like this video? Do you like the camera angle? Is this fine? Do you want to be zoomed in more? Let me know. For those of you that are still watching this at 50 minutes into it. Almost 50.
5 more minutes till 50.
So, yeah, let's see. This is, it's got 15 more minutes, for those of you who might be wondering. 15 more minutes until the drawing itself is complete, and then we'll just kind of wrap up the video.
Yeah.
But, you know, at this stage that you see the picture, you know, you might be able to just stop. You might be able to say, hey, that looks good, I'm done. And some people would, but for me, I wanted to keep going a little bit, see how far I can push it. You know, it's just your own preference. You know, it's your own. You know, I didn't feel like it was done, so you could see I'm kind of going back over, adding some darker shadings to the forehead, working on the mouth a little bit. I know I'm going to work more on the shirt coming up soon. So the eye, it's looking a little dark right there, but I think I end up kind of fixing it a little bit. You don't want to go too dark in the eyes and make them look like they're demonic, you know, or some crazy creature from like hell or something. But yeah, that eye looks a little dark, so I'm not sure what I do to fix it, but I know I do fix it. So again, I'm just going through the drawing. You see I just jump from the eyes down to the chin. I'm just looking up at the picture, looking down, seeing what looks like it needs to be darker, and just reestablishing those lines. So look what I'm doing there with the chin, or right there. Just by making that line darker, it's bringing out the rest of the face. It's making it look like he's really pushing that chin forward. And if you guys have any questions, you know, if you're just learning how to draw, or you know, you are already an established artist and just want to make a comment, please leave me a comment below. You know, my channel isn't primarily, I mean, it's more art orientated because this is what I'm really focusing on, but you know, a lot of my channel is not art videos, so this is kind of new for a lot of my subscribers to actually sit and watch this. So I'm hoping I'm attracting more artistic minded people, because I really do enjoy doing these videos and doing these drawings for you guys. And I post all this stuff also on Instagram, so if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's StogieFarts on Instagram. And usually I'll post like my work in progress and show you how it's coming along and all that. And then when I'm done, I do this on YouTube. I'll show you guys this video of it from start to finish. And then I also have time-lapse videos. So this is a long time-lapse, but I do like the 3-minute version with music. So if you just want to see it without talking, I'll put a link to that up here. And at the end of this video, there'll be a time-lapse link for you guys. I'll put it in the description if you need it. What are you doing?
I see your beard.
Yep. So here you can see I'm doing more detail on the shirt. It's not super accurate. It's just enough to give it texture. I just do little squiggle lines. Look, I'm just doing little squiggle lines, and it's going to make the shirt look like it's folding. You know, it has like folds and stuff. Like even my shirt here. You know, when I'm drawing this, I'm just drawing little swiggle lines where you see the black. And that, just like I'm doing there. And it gives the shirt, makes the shirt look like it's, you know, got those little wrinkles on it. So at this point, I'm already thinking to myself, okay, I'm pretty much almost done. I do add a little bit more to the hair. I remember wanting to add it, make it a little bit more darker, some darker spots to it. All right, we got about 10 minutes left. So the hair, I'm just adding, you know, wherever I see the dark lines, I'm just following the flow of the hair. Okay, so I look at his hair, I see it kind of swoops over. So because I see it swoop, this motion, what I'm doing with my hand, I try and do with the pencil. So I'm drawing those arcs, that same arc that represents the flow of the hair. And that's an illusion, so your brain will fill the rest in, and your brain will just see hair. Even though I'm not drawing hair, I'm just drawing lines, but your brain's going to see hair. At least I hope it does. Because if your brain doesn't see hair, then I did something wrong. This picture makes me laugh every time I'm looking at it. And I really like that shadow under the nose. That really, to me, that's one of the coolest things to draw. I look at pictures that have nose shadows, and I try and make it stand out. So here I think I'm going to start trying to bring out some highlights. So by erasing certain parts, you know, if you look on his nose, you might not be able to tell, but on the very front of his nose, there's a little highlight. Even on my nose right there, you can see that bright spot. That's a highlight. So what I'll do is I'll shade it, and then I'll take the eraser and I'll erase. And here I'm erasing a little spot by the eyes. I know by the forehead you'll see me make a little highlight spot. And that starts really bringing the picture to life too. Right here, see right here? Where I just did that, up by the eyebrow. Right there by the eyebrow, right there on top of the forehead. Those little tiny marks, you don't think about it, but it creates that illusion in your brain that makes it look like you're looking at a three-dimensional thing. So I'm trying to just a little bit around the lips. And if you know, right here I'm shading in just so I can make the highlights stand out more. If you want to make something bright stand out bright, you can just darken around it, and that'll make it stand out. That's another thing I learned, is the eraser is like, it's a very important tool when it comes to drawing. Like, I never thought about that before I started drawing. Like, I thought of an eraser as like something that you stayed away from. Like an eraser, that means you made a mistake. But no, you can use, I use this kneaded eraser. It's just like it's almost like a piece of Play-Doh. But with this kneaded eraser, you can shape it and form it, and it almost becomes a drawing tool. So by erasing certain parts of the picture, you're actually highlighting those parts, and you're adding character to it. So when you see me with this on there, watch what it does to the picture. It really brings it to life. So I'm just kind of going over the drawing. I'm using a different pencil there that's a little bit more of a finer pencil. You know, last minute touch-ups, last minute shading. You know, at this point the drawing's basically done. It's just, I'm just waiting for my brain to tell me it's okay to stop. So there's 7 minutes left. So in those 7 minutes, you're seeing I'm just doing a little erasing, doing some shading. It's pretty self-explanatory, so I don't need to keep saying it. But you know, here I'm noticing the eye. Oh, here's where I get real close.
Oh.
Now let me know if you guys like, when I do this drawing, do you guys like it this close? Do you want me to do the whole drawing this close so you can really see when the lead being put on the paper? Let me know. Because I can do the whole drawing this close and just move the drawing around. But sometimes I like it from that stand back view so you could see the overall picture. But I do kind of like this close-up thing where you could see how much graphite is being put onto the paper. I think I said lead before, but it's actually graphite.
You did say
Yeah.
that.
So here I'm just rubbing in the shading I put down, smoothing it out again. But you can see up close, like the texture, you can almost see like the texture of the skin. And I'm working on the eyes so you get that pupil down. I'm keeping that right there, the corner of the eye, I'm keeping white because that's a little highlight right there. I'm trying to do the eyelashes a little bit because he does have little eyelashes. I didn't want to go too overboard with the eyelashes because he's not a girl, but I still wanted to indicate them on there. So see, I'm using the kneaded eraser there, just kind of getting the little white part of the eyes, making sure those show. Little highlight there. Little touch up of the nose, defining the lines underneath the nose. So yeah, this is all just last minute shading. You could see just how why these take so long to do is I'm not going hard. I'm just lightly putting down stuff, lightly putting down tone, working on the mountain. Look at the teeth there. So you can see I didn't really draw teeth. I'm just lightly indicating it, very lightly, just putting very light lines to indicate there's teeth, and then your brain will do the rest. So do you like this zoom? I'll see how I zoom back there. So I don't know. I'm just curious what you guys think about which angle of camera, which zoom angle you think is best. You're just, again, last minute stuff here, working on the button and then the shirt. And I think I take the tissue here and I kind of rub it in a little bit. So I'm just adding some more cross hatching. I want the shirt to stand out from the face, so that's why I'm making sure it's darker. Alright. Couple last minute touch-ups. Oh, and so I'm just dabbing on the shirt just to make it stand out more, the dark spots. So I'm creating texture just by erasing. So again, that eraser really helps me out to make the shirt stand out. I'm cleaning up around the edges, using the eraser, cleaning up some of the smudge marks that I have on there. But you could see, looking at the picture, I mean, it looks like a person looking back at you. So I'm really happy with how this one turned out. I remember this part. This is just very, very last minute shading. Just very, very last minute stuff. Things that I see that I think I should add in. And again, I could probably be doing this for another hour if I wanted to, but at some point you just got to call it. And so there's not too much more that I felt I can do to this picture. I felt like it was pretty done. I'd be curious to hear what you guys think. Whether you're an artist or not an artist, please leave me your thoughts on this video. If you like it, give me that thumbs up. And if you have requests too, let me know. I'm always interested in drawing new things. So I'm just touching up the hair there.
Yeah.
What do you think? Looks pretty good?
Mm-hmm. It's cool to see, like, at the beginning of the video, you're looking at the finished picture right there. Mm-hmm. And then you're looking back and see what you're doing, and you're like, oh yeah. Like, down here, when you were doing that with the paper towel all over the face for the first time, I saw this part, and I saw that part, and I thought the whole thing was going to go away. Mm-hmm. Then I looked up, and I'm like, oh no, that's still there.
Yep. So
you can see, like...
Yeah, and here I'm actually drawing, he has little freckles, like little moles. So I'm just kind of putting those in there very lightly. You don't have to do that kind of thing, but yeah, but I just I wanted that in there just to try and add a little bit of realism. You know, I don't want my pictures. My style is not to make it look like a photograph. My style is to make it look like a person. You know, it's make it look like a drawing, but look like them. All right, so this is the last minute here. This is me. I'm just going over with the kneaded eraser. I'm touching up the white highlights. Anything that needs to stand out with white, I just erase it. You know, going over the lines a little bit. But this drawing is done. Here I'm smudging the shirt, and I'm about ready to sign my name on it. All right.
And now we're on here.
Yep. So here I go. I sign my name. I do that with all the pictures when I'm done with it. And I put the date on it. So I finished that on October 14th, 2017. And this is... that is the picture. That is it. So, overall, I'm happy with how the picture turned out. I think I captured his likeness pretty good. Good enough to where I feel good about it. And, yeah, that's it. So, I appreciate you guys watching. Let me know how you like these videos. Is it a good format? Are they worth continuing? Do you want me to keep doing these videos, or do you want me to just do 3-minute time-lapse music videos? Let me know. And again, leave me a comment if you have requests. I'm almost at the stage now where if you want to commission me to do something for you, like draw something for you, you can let me know that too. I'm starting to get people that want to pay me to do some drawing, and I'm not quite there yet, but I'm almost there. So I still want to do a few more of these videos of just people, but I do it for you guys, I do it for me, and yeah, that's it. So you got anything else to say? Thanks for watching, and click these videos that you see on the screen, and click the subscribe button, and that is all. So we'll talk to you later, all right? Bye-bye.